Welcome to our Business Research Methods presentation. Today we will be discussing our research question, our quant hypothesis and qual research objectives, as well as our research methods and our action plan for the project.
For our research question, we chose to what extent does exercise affect productivity in the workplace? The reason we chose this question was because we all believe that exercise has helped us positively facilitate other parts of our lives, and in our own experiences we had felt the impact that exercise had had on our productivity. Therefore, we wanted to dig deeper into this subject, and specifically investigate exercise patterns which change one's productivity in the workplace. In this case, to test the question at hand, we chose productivity rate for the dependent variable, and for our independent variables, we chose frequency of exercise, intensity of exercise, and time slot of exercise. Investigating these different patterns of exercise in humans will help us drill down on the overarching question.
We made sure that our quantitative hypotheses were three testable statements that were linked to our research question. They weren't very complicated, and what we decided to state was that countries with higher rates of exercise are more productive. Low intensity exercise results in an improvement in productivity over high intensity exercise. And exercising early in the morning before work is linked to a better productivity than exercising after work. With our qualitative research objectives, our aim was to get subjective data, and therefore data that cannot be expressed in quantifiable terms. We therefore decided to explore the experiences of exercising during the work period, to investigate how self-rated productivity differs on days when the participant exercises and when they don't, and lastly, to assess the effects of intent of exercising on work performance. You will now see how we carefully chose particular academic and non-academic sources in our literature that is key for us to investigate both our quant hypotheses and our qual objectives.
Having our hypothesis established, we now had to search through academic and non-academic literature in order to figure out how we are going to measure all of the different variables correctly. In our search effort, we stumbled upon different articles and academic journals, but the ones that were most credible and suitable for our research were the ones that you see in this page. For the productivity measurement of our interviewees throughout the questionnaire, we came across a Stanford study that measured productivity of employees with health problems. By taking out the health problems of the equation, we made our own credible questionnaire based on their questions. In our effort to find ways to measure productivity of countries in order to compare them to each other, we stumbled upon several measures on how to perform the task. We decided to use GDP per hours worked as we found out that it was used consistently throughout academic literature, and that's why we will use it too. For the intensity of the workout, we decided to use the rate of perceived exertion, or RPE, which may be the most versatile method to measure exercise intensity for all age groups. Using this method is simple because all you have to do is estimate how hard you feel like you're exerting yourself during exercise. RPE is a good measure of intensity because it is individualized. It's based on your current fitness level and overall perception of exercise, and the scale ranges from 1 to 10, which is easy to then statistically analyze. The other literature was used to drive us to structure our objectives and our hypothesis, except of number 3 and 4 on the non-academic literature part, which helped us shape the structure of our questionnaires and interviews. It gave us an idea of what type of questions to ask, how many, and how to keep the subject interested in the process.
With regards to our data, the quantitative and qualitative research that we will use will be slightly different. Firstly, with regards to our quantitative research, we plan to use questionnaires. It is crucial for us to get a large sample size of 384 employees, for those in the subject matter experience. This will reassure that our required sample is in the 95% confidence interval and it will keep us within the defined error levels. The questionnaires would be filled in by the employees in the workplace. It would be a simple questionnaire that they would have to fill in and tell us how many times and hours how many hours a week each of them train, how intense their exercises are, and how productive they think they are in the workplace, from a scale of 1 to 10. All of the data we will collect from what I just mentioned would be our primary research. It would be unused and fresh data that would allow us to conduct our analysis. On the other hand, however, we must have secondary data too. It will allow us to reanalyze our old data and compare and bring in new point of views, and therefore draw conclusions. Secondary data definitely saves a lot of our time and is available for free or at a low cost. This is why we chose to use archival data. It would be archival data from employers and countries that would highlight and outline the productivity of the employees in the workplace rated by the employers. We would also achieve archival data that would show us the overview of aggregate productivity rate and citizens' exercise habits for different nations. The reason our group decided to use a questionnaire was because of how much data we can collect in very little time and even at a very low cost. It would be relatively cheap as they would be emailed a link that they would have to click on and complete the survey. Moreover, having data from questionnaires will definitely mean that we can analyze it and identify trends easily. Lastly, with the use of archival data and questionnaires, as mentioned earlier, we can draw conclusions too. With regards to our qualitative research, we will conduct 2 focus group interviews, both semi-structured ones, to different types of employees, both of sample size 15. Firstly, to those who have started to exercise but never did before, and secondly, to those that exercised very frequently in the past and have now stopped. Speaking to the employees is crucial to find out how they feel exercising has impacted their productivity. With the use of semi-structured interviews, we can definitely ask follow-up questions that will give us a deeper insight in their experiences.
Our action plan consists of multiple SMART objectives that plan what needs to be completed in order to complete our report at a high quality and before the deadline. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. We have chosen to use SMART objectives because they allow us to keep on track to success through performance monitoring and are meaningful. Our first objective is to collect all primary research as discussed on the previous slide by February the 21st. The previous slide has information regarding what methods we are using to collect to reach this objective, as well as how we're going to do it. The second objective is to perform statistical analysis such as regression testing on collected data and draw conclusions by February the 24th. This is to understand what our primary research means. The next objective is to write a short analysis report of our primary research in relation to our hypothesis, both quantitative and qualitative, by February the 28th. This is done to further understand the primary research we have collected, so transition to the final report will be seamless. After that, we will plan each section of the research paper using bullet points by March the 4th. This is so we ensure our final report sticks to a structure and we do not go off topic. Then we will finish writing the report by March the 19th. And after the report is done, every individual must proofread and revise the report to make final improvements by March the 24th. This allows each person in our group to give feedback on other sections to improve the quality of the report and ensure no mistakes are made. Finally, one individual must submit the final report on the submission page on Moodle by March the 25th. This will ensure our final report is submitted 2 days before the external deadline.
This is the way we decided to split our group work. We made sure that this was done in a very even and fair way, and everyone worked on what they were good at. And lastly, these are our references. We decided to stick to Harvard-style referencing throughout our project. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it and liked our research question.